All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this free webinar session presented by Dynaway. Now, today's topic is going to be about how Dynaway EAM for Business Central optimizes maintenance for manufacturers. We expect today's session to last about 45 minutes, including some time for Q&A at the end. So the webinar is being recorded live, and a link to the on-demand replay will be emailed to all attendees after the session. So now I'd like to introduce our presenters, Joe Salazzo, Partner Success Manager, and Jeff Gugino, the Solution Engineer at Dynaway.
Thanks so much, Robbie. Really appreciate the introduction. Thank you again, everyone. Again, my name is Joe Salazzo. I'm the Partner Success Manager here at Dynaway for our EAM BC solution product for Dynaway North America. On the call with us is Jeff Gugino, who is our Solution Engineer for Dynaway EAM BC. Again, Dynaway North America. It's a pleasure to be able to do our webinar with you today. So just taking you through the course of our webinar today. So it's going to be divided into three parts. It will be a Dynaway introduction, quick introduction of our company, brief introduction to our product, part 2, and then, of course, where the magic happens, part 3 is the live product demonstration. So let's go ahead and get into it. So just to get things started and to talk a little bit about the manufacturing industry specifically, downtime poses a significant and unique risk to the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing settings depend greatly on ongoing coordinated process. So any downtime, whether it's scheduled or unexpected, interrupts that fragile equilibrium. So that can lead to direct impact on output, high cost of idle assets, and ripple effects from interconnected systems. So what EAM does to transform the approach to downtime management, EAM turns reactive maintenance into proactive asset management by ensuring that all assets like machinery, equipment, infrastructure are maintained, monitored, and optimized throughout their life cycle. We do that through preventive maintenance, through real-time asset monitoring, and through a centralized maintenance management system. So just a quick brief overview of our company, Dynaway. The good news about Dynaway, we're a super simple business, very easy to understand. We're 100% focused on asset and maintenance management exclusively and specifically for D365. Full stop, it's all we do, it's all we have ever done. And our solutions are tailored entirely for the Microsoft ecosystem. We've been doing what we've been doing for a little over 25 years. Microsoft has taken notice of what we've been doing, and they actually acquired a bit of our IP for our EAM solution on the FSCM side of the business in 2018. The values that we have in place here at Dynaway are being agile and digital first, being pragmatic and helpful, and we believe we're an honest and easygoing team to work with. And the strategy we have in place to carry out those values are by building a market-leading position as the default asset management solution for D365. And we accomplish that through our partner network. So I think it's important that we kind of establish what EAM is before we actually dive into the webinar today and the presentation of our solution itself. So EAM actually involves the management and maintenance of an organization's physical assets throughout each asset's life cycle. So think of EAM as a system helping businesses keep track of their physical stuff, making sure it works well and to plan ahead to avoid breakdowns and downtime, as we had highlighted earlier. So at Dynaway, our solution is a suite of software applications that are designed to manage and control operational assets and equipment specifically within Business Central. So the problem that we currently see in the market and why our solution is specifically seamlessly integrated with Business Central is that with EAM and ERP systems being separated systems, asset-intensive organizations face inefficiencies and limited visibility, leading to longer downtimes and business disruptions while driving higher operational costs. This leads to fragmented operations, inaccurate decision-making, as well as higher IT costs. So the solution that we have for that problem is by offering a built-in and all-in-one EAM solution directly inside of Business Central. This reduces complexity and enhances efficiency. So by seamlessly working in concert with existing business processes and workflows, our customers are able to drive revenue and profitability, save time and resources, have internal and external compliance of capturing records, and analyze optimizing maintenance and usage reports and reporting tools across each individual asset. So at Dynaway, and traditionally, EAM is focused specifically on 4 specific lifecycle stages. And so at Dynaway, our focus is on the in-between, the management and the maintenance of the asset itself. So for management, our solution allows you to organize and track your assets and all of their lifecycle changes, as well as with maintenance, allowing you to streamline maintenance planning, workload scheduling, and maximizing asset utilization, leaving you, the customer, with the ability to optimize the quality and utilization of your assets, increasing productive uptime and reducing operational costs. So our solution targets organizations that are assets intensive, and specifically those organizations who own and operate their assets. So traditionally, we've been laser focused on the industries here in green, and those being specifically manufacturing as one of our key industries. So here, I just want to run through our solution's key benefits and functionality, and a reminder, all of these benefits are available to you right out of the box. Jeff will do a focus demonstration in just a few minutes, but just so that you get an overview of what is available to you directly out of the box. So we believe in having a 360-degree solution for EAM. We provide an organized asset overview for every single asset that you have, maintenance planning, so a structured approach to maintenance planning for the assets that you have, an effective work scheduling for scheduling the work to be done to maintain the asset, as well as a smooth work execution for carrying the job of maintaining the asset from start to finish. We believe in making data-driven decisions. We call it Dynaway Analytics to improve upon maintenance processes for the future. And then what sets our solution apart, I think this is the key part of this slide, what sets our solution apart is that we are built into and not bolted onto BC. So what that means is that we are fully integrated with and in fact embedded into the solution itself. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and transition the call on over to Jeff.
Sounds great. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Jeff Gino. I'm a solution engineer here at Dynaway. I'm going to show you a quick overview here of our Dynaway solution. So first thing I'm going to talk about are going to be our assets. You as a customer, obviously, you're going to have lots of assets in your organization, and you want to monitor them, look at them. So the first way of doing that is what's called our asset list view. This is a way of listing all our assets. You can do it by asset number. You can do it by, let's say, the type, the description, the condition. These are all things that you would set up and apply to your assets themselves. Maybe even things like categories. Give me all the conveyor belts, give me all the robots, give me all the security cameras, lights, whatever it might be. There is an analyst mode, which allows us to come in here, and we can actually set things up like, let's sort things. Let's look at, like in this example here, all our conditions as well as our status codes, and it creates a list that I am then able to, plus out and see, in this case, all the assets that are normal and also installed and tested. You can create these simply by dragging and dropping. So if I wanted to look at, let's say, condition code, I literally just drag it down here. And the same thing, maybe I care about if they're critical or not. And so then this allows you to simply plus things out, like these are all the assets that are not critical, and then these are all the assets that are critical under the normal code. Again, all kinds of ways of chopping up the assets and looking at them. You, of course, can save these queries and come back to them later, whatever makes sense in your environment. Another way of looking at assets would be our asset tree view. This is going to group the assets really automatically in logical views. So in this case, these are all the assets in Hall 1, all the assets in Hall 2. If I were to plus these out, like these are the conveyor systems in Hall 1. So I have a conveyor system, I have 4 of them here. I can plus that out even further, and then I can see things like the plans, the spare parts, the documentation, downtime that Joe was talking about. That's so very much important for manufacturing. I can come in here and actually look at the downtime that we, in this case, have had for this particular asset. And we can even get specific, open that one up. and get all the details about this particular downtime. I could even close it here if I wanted to. Any related work orders would be here as well. So that is all viewed from this asset tree view. I could, right from here as well, even create downtime if I wanted to. We can look at things like, let's come over here and look at some documentation. So documents for this particular conveyor system, maybe it's the schematic, maybe it's the user guide, how-tos, whatever it might be. They can all be loaded in SharePoint or Azure Blob Storage that allows your technicians to view them when they go on site to fix something. Here's the schematic, here's the documentation, whatever it might be. We'll look at this conveyor system, but notice there's actually assets beneath them. These would be children, and the conveyor system would be a parent. And so we're also saying that this conveyor system is contrived of this transmission gear, and this transmission gear is contrived of this worm wheel shaft, so on and so forth. You can go about 10 layers deep if needed. Another way of looking at this is I have it set up by parent, but you can also do this by location. And so now the tree view here will be sorted out by location. So this is everything in Hall 2, everything in Hall 1. And then as you saw also, we can go ahead and do it by category. Give me everything like all the conveyor system, all the lamps, fabrication, whatever it might be. So a great view here allows you to really look at the assets, very specifically. So I'm going to go back to parent, and I'm going to show you what's called our asset card. So we'll pick our little conveyor system here. Go ahead, open. And now we are looking at the asset card for this particular conveyor system, asset number 44. We're going to see things like the status, the condition. These are all items that you would put in. These are just examples that we have, and these codes can be really whatever you have in your organization. The category itself, we get things like manufacturing, the model number, serial number. Is it assigned to a certain group or something like that? We do track locations and areas. So this particular one pulls parts from this warehouse or that warehouse. You can set all that up. And that comes into play when you need to order things like spare parts to make sure that when the technician goes on site, that he or she has that spare part available at that warehouse. We can track things like GPS locations. If someone's being sent out, to fix something, they can actually click on that. It'll show them a map, how to get there. Just basically, in this case, Microsoft, and put in the address. I'll tell them how to get there. You of course can put like the floor. It's on the 3rd floor, 1st floor, whatever that might be. We do also track things like warranties. So technician goes on site. It's a big job, as an example. Let's go ahead and call warranty, and maybe they'll call someone for us, send a technician to fix it, being that it is under warranty. So these are all the items that we track on this particular asset. Over on the right-hand side, we get things like a picture. You can show how many active work orders that are in place. There's kind of a little scratch pad area here. It's called asset attributes. This allows you to track, let's say, I'll use the word non-standard items. Maybe you want to track things like the year it was produced, the width, the height, the length of the conveyor system, or anything else that wasn't tracked up here besides, model number and serial number. So it allows you to basically customize this card to fit your needs. Below is just showing us, the children and the parent. This is where the documentation would be uploaded. If you wanted to upload, let's say, a schematic or user manual, you can do that all right here. Other things we can do from this asset card, we have things like history. So we have a log view. This shows us everything that has happened to this asset, like status change, it was created, location changed. So this gives you information, about the asset itself. In other words, what has happened in the past. And then like asset statistics. This is going to pull up information, cost of this asset. How much has this cost me over this period, this year, last year in total? And we break it down by corrective costs versus preventative costs, and then total costs. This is all demo data, so sorry for a lot of the zeros. But we also break down things like capitalization costs. And again, things like posted work orders. We track all of that to let you know, this asset's really starting to break down. Maybe it's time to, replace it or whatever it might be. But all that is kept on this asset card, specifically towards this particular asset.
So Jeff, we did have a question come in
Sure.
by Matt, and he asked, is EAM best suited for company-owned assets or for customer-owned assets that we might need to service?
The first one is better, but the second one can definitely work. So we can use this. Let me point here something real quick before I forget the point here. We can tie it back in to a fixed asset. So that would be your first example right here. So it's company owned, and we want to tie it back into a fixed asset inside BC. Fully support that. But actually, Joe and I have been working on a prospect that they want to maintain assets that are not theirs, and that's fine too. You would need to enter them in the system. It wouldn't necessarily be tied to a fixed asset. It would just be an asset in the EAM system. So both work. First one is probably a little more preferred because you're tying it back with Business Central, but second one can work as well.
Awesome. He did have a follow-up as well. So Matt asked, is it a one-to-one relationship with a fixed asset object, or can you have a single financial fixed asset that relates to multiple EAM assets?
It would be the latter, and that's probably what's going to happen. Like in this example here, this conveyor system is tied to a fixed asset, but all of these assets below are tied to this fix, but there is no fixed asset behind them. So that's probably the way it would be if it's a big, large, equipment, big, large piece of machinery, one fixed asset, but multiple, many maintenance assets beneath it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay. And thank you. All right. So let's talk about when things break, right? Unfortunately, things will break. So we need to create work orders. We have 45 minutes here, so I'll just talk about another way of doing it, and then I'll show you how to create a work order. So we do support maintenance requests. So maintenance request means that anyone, we don't license this, anyone has the ability to create a maintenance request. Request simply means the machine's smoking, it's squeaking, whatever it might be. Many ways of doing this. We have mobile apps, we can use a URL, we could use an API to create that maintenance request. I can show what a request looks like. A request is simply, an asset number and a quick description. And then an asset manager would then, let's say, as an example, open one of these requests and do something with it, create a work order, put some more information in it, assign a person to it. So just to let you know, we support both methodologies, a maintenance request, and then as well as just simply creating a work order itself. When it comes time to create that work order, like if I just want to do one here, we would give it a description. These pull downs, of course, you would probably, or you should, configure these which makes sense in your environment. If it's not here, you of course can add a new one, but you probably would want a nice list there for you. This way you could say, okay, this is inspection or cleaning, whatever it might be. And then also, like let's say a category code. I did inspection, so let's come down here and say inspect. Okay, put down priority, is this corrective maintenance, whatever that might be. If you need to put down location, you can as well. I'm going to go ahead and create that work order. I could type in instructions, copy paste, whatever that might be. And then if there's any, let's say, pictures, I could assign them. I want to assign any documentation to this extra that's not in the system. I could assign it, and then I would go ahead and hit finish. And now that maintenance request is now in a work order. So let's talk about that. So a work order, first of all, the system can assign them. You tell us the frequency every hour, every day, whatever it might be. You can assign it when that work order was created, or I'm going to show you another way. So come over to work orders and go to the resource scheduling board. This is going to show you all the work orders in your organization. Let's go ahead and do current week. So this is now showing you all the work orders. And all these colors, I quickly did them, but they all can mean something. What I mean by that is, like, let's say inspections are all this amber color, the daily cleanings or cleanings in general are green, totally configurable. The little top right is talking about the priority. So, gray in my case is low priority, green is normal. There's like orange and yellow, high and critical. Again, all up to you, if you want to follow those. So the top line here is simply saying these are work orders that are in the system that have not been assigned. So you can simply drag and drop. So let's say I'll give that particular job to Martin here, or maybe I want to, give it to Duffy. Totally up to you on how you want to do that. You can take it a step further and say, you know what, I know he's pretty busy this day. He's off tomorrow and the next day. Let's go ahead and give it to him on Saturday. So this gives you the ability to give a nice view of the actual work orders in place and then move them around as appropriate. As I said, this is up to you. It could be just used as a scheduling tool, or it could just be used as visibility, and you have the system or yourself just automatically schedule these jobs. So totally up to you. Let's just go into one of these. I'll take this one as an example. And let's say, I am the technician and I want to actually work on this. So I open the work card. I'll come up here. So this is now giving me view into the actual work order itself. If we come over here and look at checklists, any work order can actually have a checklist assigned to it. This is something that the technician at least has to look at and complete before the work order itself can be advanced along, its process to complete. This is just a basic one I put together, but I just wanted to show you the options you can have. It can be like a multiple choice. This is the start of a tractor. Is the crankcase oil normal? Is the air cleaner in place? Say it's dirty. You can also do, pull from a list, yes or no. It can be a simple click, hey, just check this to make sure it's okay. Or it can actually be a blank and you put in information in there. So this is just some of the ways. There's actually many more that you can create a checklist. These checklists can spawn other checklists. So as an example, if you click dirty, then maybe it spawns another checklist on how to replace it, how to replace the actual air filter as an example. So very, very powerful tools comes with it. You can create as many as you want. You can assign them per asset. What I mean by that is, so anytime anyone uses an asset, this checklist gets assigned to it automatically, or you can assign them when you create the work order itself. If your technicians, let's say, don't have mobile devices as an example, then you can actually print them. They then can take them with them. If you have to do that, we do support it. If let's say they're part the way through and they get interrupted, they can save their process and progress, and then come back. So I'm a technician here, and I'm gonna, follow the checklist and do my job, fix whatever it might be. These are the instructions that were given to me. I can, read through them, whatever it might be. In this case, this is the actual resource assigned. A person in Business Central is a resource. So the DC is actually Martin. He's our main guy here, but it could be assigned to anybody else. The work code is, part replacement. How long does this take me to do? I could put 2 hours in here as an example. And then what was the part that I needed to replace? I could, pick whatever it might be. When you set up Dynaway, you're going to put a list of parts. So think of these as spare parts. that are relevant towards the asset. So you're not going to have a list of 1,000 parts here. When I come down to this part list, it's only going to be parts and spare parts relevant to this particular asset. So we'll just say, ball bearing in this case. This way the technician doesn't have to, scroll through a list of 1,000. It might be several dozen if it's a huge, asset, but we try to make things a little bit simpler for you. We also have a thing for expenses. Expenses would be something like you needed a third-party contractor as an example. So we don't have the skill set to do this, so we're going to have to bring someone in from the outside. Inside Business Central, you're going to have all this stuff set up. As if not, you of course have the new button here. I don't expect the technician to do this, so hopefully everything would be set up for them. They would come in and say, first up, consultants. It took them 8 hours. What is their rate, whatever it might be. Could be something as simple as, food, or they had to spend the night. You again can put all that in here, put the information in there, and this would now be an expense that gets billed back to that asset. So we are going to track that because this was an expense that you had. So this is a very quick way of running through a work order. Again, if you want more details, please get back with your Sabre rep. We'll get more details on these if you wish. So next, I'm going to show you preventive maintenance. Again, Joe mentioned that it's very important when you have big, hungry pieces of manufacturing equipment. You want to minimize that downtime. You want to have preventive maintenance in place. And of course, we have the ability to do that. The terminology we use what's called a work order plan. This just simply means a work order that's going to happen at X. And that X is a variety of time, number of presses in a stamp, number of hours, and we'll walk through that. So we have a work order plan. We need to pick the actual asset itself. So we're going to pick our friend here, the conveyor system. So that's the asset itself. What does this plan entail? Well, let's say we're going to clean it. And again, these are all in here. You would program ahead of time. If not, you can add them. Then we would say the category. So we're going to do clean again. But I just wanted to show you like the full list here. And these are those colors I was showing you talking about on the resource scheduling board. This is where you would actually select those colors. So I'm going to say, it's clean. Is it medium priority? We'll make it low as an example. And then do I want any checklist, to happen? And you can, again, hopefully have all these pre-selected. But we'll just grab one of these here. So now this must be done before, this is done during, this is done after. We do support safe work, by the way. So things like lockouts and tagouts, another conversation, but we support that in the solutions. You actually can tag out things. Maybe it's a big manufacturing machine. You want to make sure it's tagged out and locked out before someone works on it. We fully support that. So we have our asset. We have the category. It is cleaning. Now, how often is this going to happen? So we can do a one-off. And the example I always use is big bosses are coming down. Let's get it cleaned, and then we're done. This work order will never trigger again. Kind of defeats the purpose of a work order plan, but if you need to do it, it is there. Another way would be a calendar, a simple calendar. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, I want this job done every day. Or let's be a little bit fancier and say, this has to happen Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, this work order will be generated. Other things we can look at, there's something called a counter. A counter, as the name implies, is typically on these big pieces of machinery, something that's tracking something. The example here is running hours. So 500 running hours, 200 running hours, whatever it might be. But it can also be things like if it's a car or a truck, a forklift, Forklifts probably run hours too, but for things like that, it could be kilometers or miles. If it's a press, the number of stamps it makes, whatever it might be, you can put a value in here, and that is a counter. We also do things that are called measurements. So measurement would be something tied to an IoT device. So an IoT device is going to look at things like frequency, voltage, pressure, could be time as well, temperature, all this stuff that we're going to monitor in real time. So you're going to say when the pressure gets above this level or below this level, or the temperature is this hot, above this level, then fire off this work order. So this could be, again, we're monitoring something. So pressure's too high, temperature's too high, fire off the work order. And by the way, you can have combinations over here. I need this and this to work. So that's a good one, and that would give you really, again, back to manufacturing, keep an eye on the machine. Is it overheating? Is it wearing down? Whatever it might be. Other things in here, you can get things like event, sequence, work order, and I'll give you some examples there. We support assets being transferred, and there's a whole process if you want to track that. It's being loaded, being unloaded. Well, that could kick off a work order here for a setup team. So the asset was just transferred to another building. Then we will fire off a work order for a setup team to go set that asset up. Another example would be once that asset is set up, it could kick off a work order to inspect. So we want to make sure that it's set up and it's working, so we kick off the inspection team. Again, totally up to you how detailed or how simple you want things to be. Most likely you'll be using the counters and probably things like calendar, but everything else is there, as we mentioned. So it's going to happen Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do I want to assign the person now? So do I want to assign Duffy? Do I want to assign Martin? Or do I want to leave this blank and have the system assign it on the hour, at the day, whatever you want to do, or go to the resource scheduling board and assign it manually, seeing what everyone has on their plate? Again, up to you. Those are all options that you have. In this case, I'll leave it blank. So we're going to come in here and we're going to say cleaning. We're going to say this should only take 2 hours to be done. And then we're going to go ahead and assign parts, spare parts. So this particular cleaning job, as an example, uses some brushes for scrubbing. And we consume these, so we're going to take 2 of them. The reason why this is important, when we simulate this plan, it will then go to the requisition worksheet and simulate there as well, and saying, well, this job is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's 2 brushes a day. That's 6 a week. Do I have enough brushes, in the warehouse to support this? Brushes, parts, whatever it might be, right? And then in the requisition worksheet, you can say, once the quantity goes below 10, I'm going to do a reorder. The brushes only come in a 12-pack, so I'm going to, order 24. Again, totally up to you. Can be automated all the way through. On the more expensive items, you may want a human to check it off. Someone's ordered, let's say, a big compressor or something like that. But those workflows can all be created inside Business Central, and we fully support it. Down here, back to manufacturing, right? This is the key part. Does this cleaning process, is this going to create some downtime? It probably would in this case, so then we would go ahead and select it. So we have all this information in here that we can add now additionally to this particular work order plan. Are we tracking the downtime? So in this case, you probably would. It's not a failure. We'll call it inspection, but it would probably, you would have one predefined for cleaning. Do we know when it's going to start? Do we know when it's going to end? All of that can be in here. And then, production hold. This all goes back to Business Central, right? Because when the machine's down, you can't produce anything. So all that is tracked here for you. In this case, I think I got everything in there. I'll go ahead and release it. I'm going to calculate the plan. That just simply means that in this case, we have one work order created. And then I'm going to simulate the plan. And this is now going to show me the number of work orders that will be created. In this case, I went out, what, 2 months? And as we mentioned, these are all those two parts we needed in this one case. So this is what helps you. And again, that requisition worksheet, these items would be in the simulation status. So you would know that if I want a 60-day supply, this work order alone is taking this many of them. And that's definitely a good advantage, or a great advantage, of having something like the simulation. So you're not going to run out of parts when someone goes on site. They're not going to run out of parts. Okay. So if we, wrap everything up, obviously we're tracking assets. Assets can go back to a fixed asset. Typically, that's what we like to see. They don't have to, but it makes sense to do that. We have work orders. They can be created automatically from a work order plan or from an individual. We support the maintenance requests. So if you want to use that process, you can do that. There is no license required for maintenance requests. It could be a URL. It could be an API. We have apps for it. And then when it comes to the scheduling itself, that's the resource scheduling board. That gives you a nice view into the inside of your technicians, where they are, what they're doing. You can use that, or you can have the system schedule them, or it can be automatically scheduled for you. So I see we have about 9 minutes. If there's any questions, we can address them. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. Let me pull this up here. Okay, so just keep this in mind. This is the integration with Dynaway EAM, the manufacturing integration. This is the directions, in other words, what we're pulling and what we're sending to on the manufacturing side. I'll leave that up there for a second. And if you want to try this product out, we do offer a starter license. It is available, from AppSource. You can simply download it. At this moment, the manufacturing part isn't included in the starter license, but if you reach out again to your Sabre rep, you can reach out to us. We could help you out there. But it is totally free. We give you 2 users, as well as the ability to manipulate 120 assets. So as the name implies, it's a starter, but like everything I showed you, the creating an asset, creating a work order plan, all that is included. Okay, I wanted to cover that. Now, if there's any questions, we can answer them.
Just a reminder for those that are in the webinar, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions.
Hi, Jeff. This is Matt Bender. Question about like integrations with other systems. You mentioned you could set thresholds on like vibration and temperature and things like that. Do you have clients that manually enter those details, or like have things automated with other systems that monitor that stuff?
Both, but things like measurements, you probably want to use one of our APIs. That would, for measurement, that's probably what you would want. A counter, I didn't close a work order, but you can actually have it set up so when I close a work order, technician must update the counter in the system manually. That would work for things like running hours, but for measurements and things like that, I would recommend using one of our APIs, definitely, to get the information back.
Okay, with some sort of OT technology that, again, could be various different things.
That's exactly right, yes.
Okay. On the frequency on things like running hours, if you're not collecting those hours regularly, can EAM predict based on past history on when the next work order plan will be due, or next work order?
Yes. So when you enter running hours, I'm not sure what the minimum number is, but you do have to enter a certain number, and then it will actually extend it out and saying, okay, based on this, we're gonna need this many, work orders. Excuse me. So yes, it will do that. That is correct.
Okay. For maintaining a fleet of vehicles. Again, I guess if you were looking for pulling in odometer readings and things like that, or even engine faults from like a fleet system, like Geotab, for instance, is a big one. Again, that would maybe be through API related functionality.
Yeah, odometer again. I guess. Do they have some sort of device to plug in and send it back? If they do, it's great.
Yeah.
If not, it'd be someone typing it in manually.
Yep. Yeah.
I can just show you the.
Would that be another big use of your clients, like for managing a fleet of vehicles?
Yep. In fact, Joe, I think it's 10,000 vehicles. They're actually scooters in this case, yep. One of our clients. So that's not as fancy, obviously, but yes. And these are the APIs down here. These are the counters, and then this is all the measurements. Yeah, so this is what you are looking at here for these measurements. Again, gets and posts. Talks to this, JSON package, and that's it. JSON message, I should say. But everything is here at Dynaway or help.dynaway.com. You can walk through that or pull them up and take a look at it. But the ones that we worked with, so far we haven't had any issues. They seem to be able to tweak the code to accept this.
Okay. I went ahead and put the hyperlink into the chat as well, Matt, for you, just if you want to take a look. It's just help.dynaway.com.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
You mentioned off the top, I think, reporting as being a part of the solution. Are there kind of custom reports that, what's a popular one that?
Yeah, I should have had that set up for you. I apologize. Let's see what we got. Being in a demo environment, I'm not sure what's gonna look at. Let's just try that. You can do pretty well anything you want, as you know, right? It's anything's here in Power BI. You can slice and dice it. Like, there you go. In this case, this is what asset description, some category codes. It's all in there. It's how do you want to view it, and what views do you want to create? What makes sense in your environment?
Yeah, you probably got some standard out of the box things, and
yes,
and then you can tweak them from there. So just a list of assets, or there might be some do you have financial ones showing the service costs or anything like that?
Definitely, probably more on the BC side. But when it comes down to the maintenance side, it should be there. And I can see what we have. If I can get to the Sabre team, they can send it to you if you like. I'll see what we have.
The data's there, so that's
right.
The key thing. Yeah.
These are all predefined ones here. Yeah, the report side, unfortunately, I'm not an expert on by any means.
Okay. Those are all the questions I had. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for your time.
Beautiful. And well, if there's no further questions, I think that we can wrap up here. And I just want to thank you all for attending today. And special thanks to Jeff and Joe for the presentation today. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robbie. And thank you so much, Magda and Matt. Really pleasure for you to speak with both of you. So thank you.
Fantastic. Okay. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Thank you.